Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to the final match in our round of 16 of the Highway to the Threemus Zone, the third match between our two runners tonight, Dia and Possumorpheus. My name is Xenocat, and I'm joined here in the booth by Commander Leonhardt. How are you doing tonight, Commander?
Doing good, Xenocat. Glad to be here with you. Liking Possumorpheus' naming scheme.
I mean, I definitely appreciate that.
One of the great things about this community is that while we're all very competitive, we also have a great deal of respect for each other, and it's always nice to see the tip of a cap from one runner to another.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that in this tournament. All of our runners really respect each other, and it's such a wonderful thing to see that everyone gets along so well with one another. But what do you think of these objectives?
Defeat the boss of Lower Babel and destroy the super cannon play nicely. We have often in races looked at objectives and seen a hard required underground or a hard required darkness crystal, but I don't think I've ever seen a hard required Lower Babel.
Yeah, it's not something that you usually think about, a hard required Lower Babel, given that there's only 2 checks there. So there's only 2 possible objectives. And we happen to roll both of them tonight.
Right. The Kane start's a little interesting. People have a lot of feels about Kane as a character. He's got good numbers, but boy, does he really rely on finding a solid weapon.
Yeah, Kane is gonna need something, at least I would say a fire sword or a flame spear, to get going on the and through the overworld. But he can do some pretty solid damage throughout the seed.
Yeah, we're not going to find his good stuff lying around in a casual chest as likely as we were back in group flags, but the pink tail might hand over one of his lances, or it could be hanging out in a key item check that doesn't hand over a key item.
Yep, but we could still easily find anything up to a Gungnir spear or an Ogre Axe around the overworld, which I'm sure both of our runners would be quite happy with for that Kane.
Yeah, Gungnir is definitely serviceable through the mid game, and that Ogre Axe will come in very handy if it ends up being a hook route and some mad ogres need to be chopped down. We'll also need to see the second character and the other free characters as well, sort of round out the initial party and see who maybe the runners take to try and help get Kane to the point where he's going, or alternatively, maybe Kane is what's needed to get someone like Rydia or Palom online.
Indeed, and as we see, both of our runners are taking off. We have a Sid as our second character, and there's Valvalis giving us the Magma Key.
Okay, that's boom. So, one of the things about having Kane around is that he's a good counter to Valvalis, and now we know exactly where she is. And that Magma's putting us underground and leaving Lower Babel open.
Yeah, at this point, our runners only need access to Zeromus and that tower key to complete this seed.
And this gives us the potential for early divergence, something a little more than just the check your free characters and then hit your favorite key item location. Underground is now.
And as has been often said in this community, check your freebies is definitely a reason, I would say, to go underground. But we see both of our runners heading straight for the Watery Pass and finding a heroine robe in the first chest.
Ooh. Now that's good times. We don't have anyone to wear it yet, but in a hurry.
And there's a second Kane.
So second Kane, not what you have in mind for that heroine robe, but Rosa would be terrific, so would a Porum, even a Rydia. All of them can do some good early game work.
Yeah, here we have a little bit of divergence. Dia going a little bit deeper into the watery pass, while Possumorpheus is jumping right to Damsian.
We'll have to see if Dia gets any loot that justifies the time spent.
I didn't see anything particularly interesting. There was a Charm Claw, which could be useful if, say, our runners find a Yang and want to do an Act Giant grind, but otherwise nothing particularly interesting in the rest of that watery pass.
Bad karma. We can let Kane wear the heroine robe around the same time we let Rosa use a strength ring in my book. And Dathis, I know Kane is your boy, but come on.
With 3 Kanes on the overworld.
My goodness.
If the Mysidia characters are both Kane.
No, just no. I will flip this table.
I mean, I'd consider second Kane at that point.
I mean, what else can you do at that point? Dia's finding unicorns and Thor rages in the aggro shop. Not bad things to see. We've got a punch mage. And Tella.
Never hate to see that red mage.
No, very useful. Oh, and he's in this teal outfit. Teela. Very nice.
Possum taking that Tella, ditching the Yang, and grabbing that Sid from Mysidia real quick. Sid is a very strong damage character early on in Pool, and has a lot of HP,
Yeah.
so probably won't have too much trouble with the overworld bosses.
Yeah, he's someone that can get you through that early stuff and let another character power up.
And Kane is one of those characters that does need a little bit of powering up before he starts doing the big damage.
Yeah, it is just a little too squishy early on, even if you do find him something solid before you get into your first fight.
Meanwhile, Dia is underground and looks like making a beeline for the Fey March, going to go check her freebies.
Saving, getting the loot. Meanwhile, Possum is going to take care of the overworld in order before making the dive, heading to Ant. Samurai Shield is nice defense. Not what Dia had in mind. Gonna keep looking.
But there's monsters, so Dia now knows that she can safely loot everything else in this cave.
And Possumorpheus finds an ice brand, and an antlion, despite taking a much shorter route, still finds a solid weapon for his cane.
Yeah, that ice brand's probably one of the third or fourth best weapon you can expect to find. It's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's good enough for mid game, be sure, and especially if Leg is hanging out somewhere.
Yeah, these D-Lunars not really standing much of a chance.
No, they can be rude in some other spots, but here in Antlion, they just don't have the HP to get going. Quick little dancing dagger in the town of Feymarch. Don't have anyone yet to use it, but that might change.
And that Dracoon Shield is quite nice, as that'll give Kane resistance to fire, ice, and lightning, as we have the Twin Harp from Antlion Cave on Possumorpheus' side.
And the Feymarch freebie has the group named item, the Pinktail. And Direwolf is correcting me that Kane can use the dancing dagger. So, whereas Dia doesn't have as much for Kane, that might come in handy.
Yeah, that dancing dagger will do more damage than Kane with a lot of his early weapons at very early levels.
Yeah. Dancing Dagger doesn't care who wields it or what sort of power they have. It's going to figure out its damage based off of itself.
And Dia has found the store with all the axes. Or at least all the one-handed axes. There's dwarf axes and ogre axes for sale. Picking up one of each. Definitely a good shop for this cane.
Apparently, our restreamer changed the flags to C Cane and S themed. I'm gonna have to have
I mean, now you got your cane back rogueliched, and you've got one of the best weapons for him that you can find in a shop.
And we have a French vanilla Fey March. Our Fey March couple is still canon, but they've traded roles.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing. As Dia's leaving the Fey March.
I think that's worse because Asura.
Yeah, I think those bosses have. Yeah. Asura is really punchy.
I think that makes it overall worse if you're trying to clear it out.
And the magic spot at the Asura, the magic at the Asura spot is higher, so Leviathan's Ice 2s are going to be doing some big damage.
Yeah, that's a good point. Although if you're really, really worried about Asura, there were rune rings for sale in the Feymarch armor shop, and the mage resistance that they provide would protect against Asura's punches.
At least to some degree. Dia has now walked through the Sylvan Cave, talked to Yang to set up the Sheila 1 check in Fabul, and is now going to check her Mysidia characters and find her Young in Tella.
And Dia might make her way to Antlion next to get the twin harp that Possum has already found. Or if she set up Fabul, then that might be the target for the double dip.
Having already walked through the Sylvan Cave, I would expect once to get that 2 key item check essentially in Fabul done as soon as possible.
Yeah, makes sense.
But not before a quick pit stop at Mount Hobbs, which is an objective after all.
Right? Something objectives.
I mean, you know what they say. Always do your objectives first.
Yep. Check your freebies, do your objective.
And we don't have another cane on Hobbs, but we do have a Cecil.
Stylish Dark Knight armor there.
Certainly, and this is not a nice Mount Hobbs.
Yeah, but it's a nice Ogopogo. Better here than many other places. I think Ogre X Kane can handle this.
Ogre X Kane with Tella casting Cure 2 probably will be able to survive no problem.
Yeah, we got 420 there. That's not quite what I was hoping to see. But if he can jump some of these waves... Okay, that was about the same. So we're probably looking at...
One more jump.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2 or even 3. I think this spot's got 1880.
This spot's got 1200.
Then one more jump. You are correct. Spot am I thinking of? Fabul?
Fabul, yes. That's the spot that has 1880.
I'm drifting.
You're only off
another
by
dwarf axe that you just shelled 15,000 gold out for.
Oh, that never feels good.
No.
Well, you got half the price back as a refund, I guess.
Yeah, sure. We'll call it that. Dia's gonna die.
It's basically a free 7,500 gold. It's fine.
That is exactly what it is. 7,500 gold and a trip to the shop.
Yeah, Dia is going down and diving Antlion. We'll be finding her twin harp shortly, while Possumorpheus is just finishing up the dive into the Sylvan Cave to set up the Sheila 1 check, which Dia still has not done yet.
Yeah, so a little more efficiently done on Possum's side. They've both done pretty much the same thing, except for that little extra trip into Watery Paths, and Possum is arriving at Fabul, rather, first.
I believe Possum still has to do Mount Hobbs, which is probably where most of the time difference is coming from.
Yes, Possum still has to do Hobbs, thank you. He is going to wrap this up and exit out. And you got to think Fabul's next at this point.
You've already set up the double check there. May as well. You're not hoping to triple dip at this point if you've already walked through the Sylvan Cave. May as well just get the double dip.
Yeah. It's Dr. Dialogue. He's going to talk the guards of Fabul to death.
Listen, the people of Fabul have much better things to do than listen to some ramblings about your new robot or whatever. Ooh, Dia finding some silk webs in Fabul.
Always good to get those out of the way. You're going to want one for Zeromus, and if you can buy extras, that can help you with some rude, fast bosses. I'm looking at you, Asura.
Yeah, that Asura spot is very quick, and even the Leviathan spot, it's not exactly slow.
No. Benefit of dealing with Dr. Luggage here is that there's no poison walk. You're getting a full heal immediately after.
I wouldn't necessarily say that's a benefit.
I would. I am not team poison. Yeah. All I have to say about poison walk is grrr. So, about those cane weapons in key item locations.
There's our best Kane weapon. Well, arguably the best weapon for Kane in the game, the defense sword. Given for free just for defending Fabul.
Sure. Defense sword for Fabul defense. I'm here for it.
I mean, that makes sense. And Sheila giving our party the mission to go burn down Mist Village today.
Yeah.
I wonder what Sheila has against those summoners.
Something yang, too much time with sylphs, something.
I'll buy that.
So, objective now, Possum?
Not quite yet.
Oh.
Looks like he's heading to Ordeals. Getting that Tella online seems to be his priority.
Yeah. And granted, when
And there's a free Ogre Axe. Moral of the story, don't go shopping before you loot.
Shopping is terrible. That is what I've learned. Just get it all in chests. And if you can't get it there, did you really need it? These axes are indeed all over the place. I cannot. Yes, indeed.
Tia picking up her package. We'll see where she goes next. Might be inclined to follow Possum up ordeals.
And again, a boss that's not too thrilling, but again, could be a lot worse elsewhere. We've got CPU at the front of the bridge.
Yeah. At least this spot only has about 3,000 HP total.
Yeah, there is that. And that's what makes it better here than some other places. But this spot also has very weak attack numbers, so it's the sort of spot I might like to see a Bygone dealt into, knowing that he could be so much ruder elsewhere.
And Dia is taking a second cane.
Okay, she's gonna lean into that. But I guess, you've got to justify having all of these axes around.
Yeah, you have a defense
Find
sword.
another
Why
one.
not take a second cane?
You have a defense sword. I mean, come on.
You needed something to justify having this ogre axe. Or
Right?
two. Like,
Actually, yeah, she hasn't gotten the free ogre axe yet. She's about to get that news.
oh yeah.
But yeah.
Well, she might not loot ordeals.
Walks past it, which is fine, actually, but
It's not gonna hurt her, but honestly, it
it's
might
not gonna
feel
hurt her,
worse to
but-
her having if she had seen that free ogre axe.
Right, but now we can't imagine her reaction when she opens it up.
Does loot that kamikaze, which not super useful with this party. Sid is
No.
really the one who you want to be kamikazeing.
Yeah, that kamikaze, maybe even with this party, like kamikaze, I think Twin Heart, but there's so much metallic going on in this party that I don't even think it's going to be needed.
Well, Tella doesn't come with any metallic equipment, so you might need it for him. But...
Yeah, so he might need it.
Oh, and we have Golbez at the back attack.
Dath is putting all of the rude bosses in the open, which I support, given how often the moon's been haunted in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, with how jetty the seed could be, you got to get all the rudeness in early, because otherwise we might not end up with the rudeness.
The real terror, Golbez, is the number of betrayals we found along the way.
And it looks like Golbez has chosen to betray Kane. Naturally.
So be it. You no longer serve any purpose.
It only makes sense. He killed the one person who's usually in your party when you fight him.
Yeah. The only person he knew to target.
He doesn't know who Sid... Well, he knows who Tella is, but he doesn't really know who Sid is.
Yeah, only by proxy. I mean,
Sid was just kind of there.
that guy that built these airships I stole. I mean, what was his name again?
Oh yeah, he also, like, showed up in the Tower of Zot, but, like, he wasn't important.
No, Sid was just standing there, like,
Sid was just, like, one of those guys in the background behind Tella.
Right, exactly. Some dude just standing around as I'm walking up to Cecil to finish him off.
And it looks like on Dia's side, Golbez has taken out the other Kane.
Much greater odds on that side.
Yeah. I'm not going to call it as taking out the same character, because it's not the same Kane.
No, different palette. Awesome. First in, first out.
With only Tella alive, but probably not needing the experience too much from this spot on any of his characters.
No. And our Ordeal's key item, it's a defense sword, so help.
Oh my goodness, wouldn't that be something?
Okay, it's an adamant.
Well, I guess that counts as French vanilla. And the boss is also French vanilla.
The boss is definitely French vanilla.
But is the adamant French vanilla?
The adamant is something. Mint chocolate chip, fudge ripple. I don't know.
It's definitely some flavor of ice cream.
Yeah, it's linked to the legend. That's about all I've got. So, yeah.
It's vanilla adjacent, but not French vanilla.
Butter brickle. Here's a thing. Awesome. Still needs to take care of Hobbs. I don't know if he's... How much longer he's going to leave that? It's an objective that isn't progression. You know, unless Demus is there, which we know it's not, but Possum does not.
Yeah, may want to just get a little more power before heading up Mount Hobbs to make sure that fight goes as quickly as possible. Although I would say that fight does give a sizable amount of experience. And it looks like Possumorpheus is heading there now.
Mm-hmm. Shouldn't have any trouble with this Ogo. Dia, having already done that, could dive that Twin Heart. It's a long check with a cutscene. Could just go straight to Baron Inn for the back-to-back bosses and the character check.
Could maybe go underground, and did find that free Ogre-Axe on the way out.
We thought she was gonna miss it, but now she knows.
Now she knows that she spent 50,000 gold on nothing.
For things that were just lying around. I mean, well, we have a black mage. We have someone that can wear a heroine robe as well.
Ooh.
Almost forgotten heroine robe from the Watery Pass. If only there was a good whip to go.
Rydia can make do with a decent bow and arrow.
It's true. And she can throw the dancing dagger around, although at that point the heroine robe is just there for speed and strength won't matter.
Chat saying that Dia has sold the heroine robe. Probably to buy that Ogre-Axe.
Probably. We've either got leg or elements in the waterfall. It will remain a mystery which of the two. Oh, Dathis, you're quite correct. No mystery at all. Elements would be all four. It was leg.
Well, we're not going to be seeing much of leg tonight.
Oh, but we have a vanilla Demus.
Of course this would be vanilla. It's Dathis.
So, but you got a package, so don't just wander into the village to check it. There you go, Possum.
I mean, even if you don't have the package, you don't wander into the village to check it, because what if Demus gives you the package?
Oh, then you're just sad. Oh, and it's darkness. That's huge. That's big.
That is a huge check for Possumorpheus.
That is grind. You Already been up ordeals with Tella. Now save, check the package character. And if you missed Tella earlier, there he is, so that's done.
Not gonna take second Tella.
Nope. You grab your party and go to make all of the other checks faster, I think. Coming here to Baron, probably to look at that Rydia, who, you've got your slingshot ready. You go through this, you pick her up. Nope, but he is not interested. And some more vanilla. Dia finding a Baron.
Oh my goodness.
Bad news. The bad news for Dia is every check she opens up increases the chance of her doing something other than checking for that demist, and we know how important that is.
But there is still that tower key and that legend sword at large.
Yeah.
And if she finds one of those items relatively quickly, she could very easily be back in this.
True. And it's definitely worth noting that there's the possibility of running low-level strats if you can find your way to Z. Tower, Lower Babel and Super Cannon are not hard gating bosses, especially depending on who's at the top of that tower. You don't need to grind for them. The grind is mainly for Z, and if the tower key and legend are behind something ruder.
Yeah. The tower key, especially at that point, if you get to the super cannon room and you don't have the levels to take on the super cannon room, how did you get there?
I think I was I think no key items. I think there was a free key item with Bedward, and I got a magma tower key.
That would make sense.
That's about it. But on this flag set, I have no answer for that.
I mean, unless the tower key, maybe the tower key is Feymarch freebie.
Okay, sure. Magma start, tower key, Feymarch freebie. Yeah, I can't do super cannon then. Oh, hey! We have a white mage.
And that's important.
That's very important. That's, again, this darkness crystal proving to be super important. Nice outfit.
Yeah, Possum definitely taking that Rosa along.
Probably Moonshop next. Yeah, remembering that Valvalis says, I got a defense sword for it.
I mean, that Valvalis doesn't get any physical defense, so...
Nope. And you don't need to jump.
Possum finding a Soma drop in the Moon Shop, that's going to speed up that grind.
Yep. So I'll be holding 4 weeks instead of 3, and D is going to be in the castle for a while. The Alt Gauntlet has been located.
Oh no. What is this? 17 monsters in a trench coat?
It's something rude, is what it is. But, as Dathis is pointing out, if this has the legend sword or the tower key, it's worth it, and Possum is going to have to spend the time here too.
Indeed. Looks like Possum is heading back into Mysidia to pick up his final party member and get set up for his grind.
He's going to go for second Kane. Kane, Rosa, Tella, Sid?
Yep.
With the weapons we found for Kane, I can work with this.
You've got 2 Ogre Axes and a defense sword. I mean...
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Absolutely. Yeah, Yang for a slingshot would have been perfectly fine, Dathis.
It looks like Possum is going shopping in Troya, hoping
Yeah.
to find some ethers. Most likely.
And he should be able to slingshot the one cane, though. The new cane.
And I think that Rosa might be getting a slingshot too.
Right. So you could have Heroine Robe Rosa on a slingshot. You have one cane on a slingshot. Oh, never mind. Selling that Heroine Robe, which makes sense. Rosa's
Without
you don't need
good
to.
bow and arrow,
Yeah.
not super keen on using Rosa for damage. You do need someone to make sure that your party stays alive.
Party go brr. Party go brr. Kills Aromas before the second Big Bang. Who needs healing?
That is a good point, although I'm not sure this party is geared to do that.
No, you're right. Chat. Sometimes commentators give good advice. This isn't necessarily one.
Listen, I'm as much of a fan
Sure, by all means, lean into it.
I'm as much of a fan as anyone of having a really powerful party and just killing Zeromus with pure DPS, but Kain and Sid are not great characters for the levels of DPS that you need.
Yeah, you need just a little more oomph.
And it looks like Dia is through that alt gauntlet and finds a Porum in Baron, so we'll still have a white mage, although not necessarily the superior white mage. As Possumorpheus is setting up probably a D-machine manip.
Yeah. Can't run on. Runners now go to a chart to determine what their random seed is, having reset the game to generate that seed. And then that chart lets them know how many more encounters they have to take to get their D-machine fight. The raw data for this came from Simbu, and the easier to read chart form came from Twisted Fates.
And Dia just gets a hook from that Baron check, but is now checking that Mist Cave and is going to find that vanilla Mist Dragon.
She reset out before she saw what it... Okay, she reset and then realized, wait, that's a D-Mist, and came back. Good. And that hook will let her turn in the pink tag. That could be a high-level weapon for one of the many Canes running around this seed.
I believe, Dragoon Spear, Avenger.
Yeah.
Could also be a Crystal Sword.
Yeah, it could be a Crystal Sword or
her party.
And
she has not filled her party and could take a Cecil.
Mm-hmm. A lot of options. Definitely worth turning in.
Could even be a Bahamut summon and make that Rydia a little tempting.
Yeah, but whatever it is, having that open character slot makes it a lot more valuable.
Definitely, and especially since I believe the only tier 7 item that she could not possibly take advantage of with the characters that she has available to her right now would be a Masamune.
Yeah, Masamune, you're just selling. So far, so good for Possumorpheus.
And it looks like Dia is checking that Pinktail turn in.
Yep. And might as well hit the shops on the way and route it into your D-money prep. Star Veils. Might need them later.
But decides against it for now.
Sure, that'll work.
That is amazing for that Porum.
Mm-hmm. That helps cover the issue of Porum not having so many hit points, but you get some amazing defense out of that white shirt, and it'll help her stand up to those big bangs.
Yeah, I would say that pretty much evens out the difference between Porum and Rosa. Other than the disadvantage of Porum learning Cure 4 much later.
Yeah, but it does effectively set the length of your D machine grind having her.
True enough. Looks like Stia hasn't found what she's been looking for in shops. Or heading underground for the Dwarven Pot.
Dia might be avoiding the grind. Darkness Crystal or no. Might be just looking to try and find a way past the seed without.
That makes sense if you think that, hey, the Darkness Crystal was behind a Mist Dragon that my opponent might have seen long before I did. Makes sense to maybe try and take on some other checks that, especially
now,
this dive into the Tower
Spice.
of Babel.
Potential spice is if this is vanilla.
I mean,
because with both of those objectives, it's hard to come here without a tower key, but if it's here, then you're running away for nothing.
We've been seeing a lot of vanilla so far this seed.
Yeah, the item can be vanilla, but not the boss. Boss
But really,
vanilla.
there's not that many bosses
too.
here that are scary at the top of tower, except for maybe Kainazo.
Yeah, Kainazo is probably the rudest because he lives off of hit points. There are a lot of other bosses that are rude elsewhere that are just plain laughable. Like, I could see even at these levels that Porum with that white shirt dodging a Mega Nuke.
Yeah. This spot has almost no magic power, so
and it's
pretty much any magic-based boss will do laughable amounts of damage here.
Yeah.
This Dark Elf is a little annoying, but as long as Tella doesn't get piggied during the first phase, it should be a relatively straightforward fight.
Yeah. Yeah, because that Porum doesn't have any levels yet, and so there's no heal coming from that corner. But yeah, the weak just flat out misses. And yeah, Kane can be a pig all he wants.
No one cares if your physical fighters are pigs.
No, not at all. It's a little sad we can't berserk them if that was ever the plan. Speaking of which, but no, that's the safe one to berserk.
But the weak hits Tella.
Fortunately, once you already have Berserk on someone, turning them into a pig doesn't cancel.
Yep. It doesn't really do anything to them.
No. I mean, he may always have been Wildfire. That might be why it was so difficult for him to resist the spell.
And now that Dark Elf has transitioned into the second phase,
And as Pancrest point, go ahead.
He's lost the boss bit, and all you need to do is land a weak and then one more hit, which
is not a guarantee with Tella not in the center spot. But it lands.
Keeping that Porum down, likely planning to slingshot her since she does need a lot of levels to get the HP to survive big bangs. but just an assassin dagger from this objective.
That hurts. She's gonna walk the levels out.
And the objective.
Objective. Duh. Commander, please. Yeah. You take your and you walk away.
Yes.
Rex, you got me too. And I've been here the whole seat.
Meanwhile, it looks like Possumorpheus is done with the grind.
I got so caught up in my tower key hype that I got let down when it was just an assassin dagger.
Looks like mid 40s on the characters that didn't get slingshots, and low to mid 50s on the characters that did.
2,600 HP on Rosa. That's all you needed to hear.
Yeah, that's a Z-ready party.
Yeah, it's going to be a little slower than some other Z-level parties with these Zerkers. It's not quite the weapons we wanted, as you pointed out earlier, but it's already safe.
Yeah, at this point, no need to get any extra levels. You're not going to make it that much faster, and it's pretty safe as you fight. Possumorpheus just needs to find either that tower key or that legend sword.
And once he does, he goes right up to the moon and wanders on down.
Meanwhile, Dia is diving into Dwarf Castle.
Potentially cranky in this front spot, the evil wall. Decent amount of hit points and good punches.
Yep. This spot can definitely hurt, since it uses the physical attack of the big doll.
But that's better. If it's only landing 200 there, now the only question is, does Dia have the DPS necessary to put the wall down before you get to crush phase?
Even if she doesn't, crush phase is not super scary at this spot. Evil Wall does slow down a bit during crush phase.
I didn't realize. But yeah,
but
already a slow
that
spot.
Damage is definitely going to be enough.
So yeah, with it being as slow a spot, then yeah, even at crush phase, if it gets that far, Dia should be able to keep up with life potions. Ground Flyer, Evil Wall's front of Dwarf Castle, so
It's a slightly rude Evil Wall. But most of the danger of this spot is when it gets a lot of hits in quickly, and this Evil Wall is not really doing that.
And the damage is easily. Also, I'm about to get the bad news that the objective only has an assassin dagger. And while Dia's getting a look at the boss in the golden spot. Yeah.
I mean, that's free.
Very free. Hey, some more vanilla. Are you sure you don't want Rydia as your 5th character, Dia? Are you sure?
She's sure. Dia not even walling up, just getting as much damage out there as possible. At this spot, with this HP total, definitely take Bahamut out before it can even get the Mega Nuke.
You don't need to burn a star. Just cut him down. Purple Bahamut equals purple hand. As a dark dragon appears in front of Possumorpheus, Dia will be finding out what dwarven fashion is tonight. Ooh.
Oh my goodness, that is
That's
a legend
Gomo.
sword. Dia
It
is
go
in
mode.
go mode.
You can forge yourself an Excalibur and... Oh, hey, have a curse ring in the shop while you're at it, too. What is anchoring?
We should also note that I believe... No, that's only 9 key items for Dia.
Yeah, Crystal will make 9. Because...
Crystal will make 10.
Yes, Crystal will make 10, so she will have double. Legend was 9, Crystal makes 10.
Yep, so Dia's grind will be much faster than Possumorpheus's.
Yeah. And the question for Possum is he going to stay to Earth and make his way to that Legend Sword? Or did he only come here because it was an objective and his moon his plan?
That is an interesting dilemma that you find yourself in.
Possum goes straight to Dwarf. I think this is his race. He'll burn through that and should be already on the way up to the moon before Dia can make it through her grind. But nope, he's exiting the crater. He's going to the big whale. This looks like a moon dive. Ooh. Ooh.
There could still be a tower key up here.
There could be, and that's his only hope now. We know that. But if that tower key is still here on Earth, either in the Feymarch or gated somehow, like we haven't seen Baron Basement, we can't even get into Zot. Possum only has 1 out now. It is the smart play. You get the levels, and you figure that maybe your opponent hasn't done a grind, and you spend all that time on it, you need it to pay off. And the tough bosses are where you get your payoff.
And it looks like Dia is going for low-level strats. Just bought a bunch of vampires.
Which, interesting. Skip the grind. But when the grind is D money, that isn't very interesting play.
It's not just D money, it's 10 key item D money.
Right. That is about as good as a grind gets. But if you've been practicing your low levels and you're confident in them, a D machine grind isn't 0 time. You know?
Looks like has the stack of antidotes, has the stack of Star Veils, has the stack of vampires.
Yeah. Because, you know, I mean, what does a low-level fight take? If you've got it down good, what are we, 12 to 15 minutes? Somewhere in that zone, depending on your setup. Your normal Z fight, you're probably looking at 4 to 5. A D-money grind could easily be, you know, set up your manip, set up your walk, everything else. It could come out on the balance close.
Yeah, I mean, that D-money grind does take some time. And if you can save that time by not doing that grind.
Yeah. Got a French vanilla plague in the ribbon room.
Jeez. Everything is just slightly off today.
Yeah, a little bit of vanilla and a lot of French. It started with that Feymarch and just kept going. I think part of the reason Dia might be feeling behind, and we can ask her that if she comes in for an interview, is that she found that D mist kind of late. She skipped over that mist cave for quite a while before she got to it, and her thought process may have been, okay, Possum probably already found this crystal, probably already did an early grind. My best hope is to take an alternative route and hope that I catch up that way. Ryudo Legend was at Dwarf Castle.
As you see now, Dia is raising the big whale. Heading back into Mysidia to pick up one last party member to fill out the team.
Okay,
And
Yang. All right.
not surprising if you're going for low-level strats, as Yang has the best HP growth of any character.
Yeah. Gonna have to do something to get him to 12, though. But by the time you get him to 12, you might also get the cane that's on the edge of 12. You might get him there, and then have a few people that you can handle the 1200 HP strats.
And Ribbon Room is a bust on Possumorpheus'
Yeah.
side. That is a Sylph Summon and a Strength Ring.
Mm-hmm.
That's like stuff you can find in regular treasure boxes.
Well, that's T-Pro for you. Sometimes you get a defense sword, and sometimes you get a samurai shield.
And sometimes you get a single Ether too.
Sometimes.
I think that's still my favorite key item reward I've seen.
Yep. Dia looking for the grenade. How long does it take her to find the grenade, and does she get through it without a rude back attack, forcing her to reset again? That's her next checkpoint.
Meanwhile, Possumorpheus has found the boss that is free if you bring Paladin Cecil.
Yes. Right before he throws his second kick, yeah, you can hit him anytime then or after the second kick. He'll just say, ouch, and lie down.
But why would you bring Paladin Cecil just for karate?
I mean, if the tower key is here.
It saves you time on the one fight, but Cecil comes with so much baggage from the vanilla agility flag that...
His moon just keeps giving the rudeness.
Wow.
Oh, Dia finds it. Grenades are punching. They need to leave Tella alone and probably leave. Actually, oh, and down goes Yang.
Oh no.
Yang is gonna miss out on this. Only everyone else. So you can, yeah, get something on everyone else, but still, Yang is the one person you really wanted alive.
Yep. Could still find another encounter to get Yang the experience.
You take the XP, you pick them up, and you try again. Dropping the battle speed to make sure that everything is good now. But I don't think she saved. So she didn't. Not worth.
Looks like she did.
Okay, this is just
meanwhile, we have
she did
Leg
save.
and Friends.
She just did it so fast that I missed it.
I mean, she's a good runner of this game.
Right?
She's fast. Possumorpheus is giving us leg.
The leg that we were denied in one.
You deny a chat the leg early in the seed, you're gonna have to find it later.
And in a rude spot, the magic here, we can see these fire 2 counters. Or not the fire 2 counter, rather. But the magic is there enough to make that ruby a bit threatening. Fortunately, Possum got through before it went to fire 3.
And looks like Dia did get one of those fights with Yang up, but didn't quite get to 1200 HP on that Yang.
Yep, so just looking for one more. Here it comes. there we are. Drop to battle speed 3. Make sure that everything goes well.
And with the last 5 MP, I believe.
That should do it. This moon. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. That is...
Oh. It has been a while since I've seen a moon this rude in terms of treasure. I've seen ruder moons in terms of bosses, but the loot.
I mean, the Dragoon armor is the best thing we've seen up here.
That's pretty sad.
Gia getting the news that Rosa was here on the moon all along.
Gia's ready to head on down. Xenocat, want to break down the strats that Dia's about to use for anyone in chat that isn't familiar?
Oh goodness. I am not super familiar with them myself, but basically if your characters have 1200 HP, they are guaranteed to survive a nerfed Big Bang. Which basically when Zeromus sets the power for his Big Bang, there's a small window where if you use a spell on him to trigger a counter nuke, he will set his magic power back down, cast nuke with the lowered power, and then do a Big Bang still with that lowered magic power, which can only do a maximum of 1200 damage. Dia is going to be relying on triggering a lot of counter nukes with vampires and those antidotes and reflecting them back at Zeromus to kill him really fast.
Yep, you've got it. The fight itself will not be really fast compared to a more traditional Z fight, but
it's faster than Eddie strats.
Well, okay, yes. It's faster than Eddie strats.
That's good enough for me.
But she is skipping the time spent grinding. We saw how much time Possum spent getting his party up to those levels, even with that efficient D-machine grind. So there is that. Also, she'll skip the refill, as you do with traditional reflect strats, because she'll stop throwing the vampires directly at Zeromus when that point of the fight comes.
Yes, but Commander, I'm seeing all these flags coming out in chat. Would you mind explaining what all these flags are about?
Well, the flags mean that it is time for us to ask that question: whose butt are we gonna kick tonight? And the reason we ask that question is that Zeromus changes forms in the vanilla game. And the one thing, the only thing we do to randomize Zeromus here at Free Enterprise is that there are over 460 different sprites from all sorts of things. Video games, a few pop culture references thrown in, and you don't know which one you're going to get until the crystal's used. Most of them have been put in by our wonderful art dev, Scala Kitty, and people have their favorites, to be sure. Who is your favorite, Xenocat?
Oh my goodness, I don't know.
It's a rough question.
That's too much. There are too many.
I have a lot of close seconds. My absolute favorite is Possumorpheus. It's the first Z sprite that ever made me go, oh my goodness, what is this?
That one is a good one. Oh boy. The moon continuing to be rude to Possumorpheus, giving him a spoon at the Crystal Sword altar. But meanwhile, Dia is transforming this Zeromus, and
this is nice too.
Yep, that's a good one.
And as Dryzalizer's pointing out that's a perfect sprite for this game 3 in the Pinktail group.
I mean, with that particular color theme, definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, this Rude Moon just keeps on being rude to Possumorpheus. You know?
Oh my goodness.
Or Asame. We've explained them. Now you're going to see them in action.
Yes, setting up Starveils on the whole party and then tossing a bunch of vampires to trigger counter nukes.
Yes. And by see this in action, I mean like this is kind of like watching the Puppy Bowl in action, but with far less cuteness.
Hey, it's not quite as boring as Eddie Strats.
I said, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of the Puppy Bowl. I will tune in for that. But honestly, if the puppies themselves weren't so darn cute, it's like, come on, get the ball that way. The ball goes that way. Come on. Yes, kitten, yes.
Yes, kitten boy.
There you go, Trino. Kittens are pretty awesome. Oh, here we go. Possum has finally found the tower.
Oh my goodness.
Nazo. He can go.
There was value on the moon all along. This is why I always do top-down moon.
And yes, Maggie the cat, you're correct. At some point, you have to stop hitting directly with vampires, or you go to phase 2, and you don't want this fight to go that long.
No, you don't.
Phase 1.
Because Medio is very scary when you don't have health.
Yeah, that too. You're not getting through Medio phase on 1200 HP.
I mean, you can take one Medio.
Yeah. I will give you 50 cookies, Xenocat, if you take a 1200 HP party and trigger the refill and win. I will give you 50 cookies in Discord.
This sounds like a challenge that I'm going to have to do. Considering I haven't actually done 1200 HP strats at all before.
I mean, considering I have about 100 cookies, 50 is about as high as I can go.
I mean, that's fair. I might have to take you up on this offer soon.
But there you go. You see, even Yang, who is really not known for his magic defense whatsoever, still only taking just over 1,000 from that big bang. Nobody rude here at Tower. Granted, most of the rudeness was out of the way. Golbez would have been really annoying, and so would the Altcon at this point.
But we've seen both of them, so just some Baron guards who go down to a single Zeus Rage.
And you're right, his Barabbas, his HP is his magic defense, but these strats really aren't letting him employ that to the fullest potential.
Yeah, he didn't get enough levels to do that. He's only barely a little bit over the Kane's HP.
That's a crystal for Possum. Yeah, and I'm just playing it off, Barabbas. I will be the straight man. That is my job.
I mean, what is our job as commentators if not to play it off the jokes of chat?
Right? So occasionally I'll have a pun to come back at you, but oftentimes I will just go, and just no sell.
Okay, I suppose explaining things is also our job.
I guess, but we explained. We could explain this 1200 hit strat probably 5 times back to back before it got done. So
Probably.
all we can do now is talk about Possum's run and snipe back at chat. Wildfire, a shake does not mean phase 2. No. As long as you still see viruses coming out every third Big Bang, then you're still phase 1.
Yeah. 2 shakes in a row means phase 2.
That does also mean phase 2, yes.
But I think Dia has been counting her damage properly, and it looks like she has transitioned to using antidotes.
Yeah, and that means it's the home stretch. So this time's going to be close, but this is looking good for Dia.
Meanwhile, Possumorpheus just getting, according to chat, a Luca key from the tower key, so we'll have to walk through this whole lunar subterrane to get to Threemus.
Yep. I think with the hit points he's got on Rosa, he just charges down.
Yeah, I would expect, does not feel in any danger at all. Should be a pretty safe Z fight.
Full canceling, need to put the veils back up to get the damage back online. And Scythe, no, this isn't going to be super fast on Possum's side. It's going to be about mid. It's going to be nice for hybrid, but not blazing.
Yeah, I would expect maybe it's going to be fast, but it's not going to be faster than Dia's fight
Easily.
by itself, but it's not going to be a really fast Z fight. I would expect a second Big Bang.
Yeah. Agreed. I don't think we've got the damage to push through phase 1 without seeing that second Big Bang. But yep, he is charging straight down. Says, I'm up against Dia. I don't have time for this. Not after how long I spent on the moon. And he's quite correct.
Yeah, with that full clear of the moon to get the key item that was sitting at the Paledom spot the whole time.
Yeah. Be close though, that's for sure. Regardless of how this turns out, one of these runners is unfortunately going to be out of this tournament after putting on a great show to get this far in the first 2 matches and in this match. So Dia's been here for a while, and Possum's new on the scene. This is his first tournament, but if you've run asyncs against him, then you're not at all surprised to see him going toe-to-toe with Dia and holding his own.
Oh my gosh, I am... These runners are both fantastic. And having raced Possum in this tournament, I can tell you, he's good.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed, Dryzalizer. It's not that the seed itself was jetty. It's just that the runners are really efficient.
Yeah.
Possum's naming scheme was the only thing worse than losing to Dia is not seeing Dia race any more free enterprise. It was shorter than that because there was only so much room, but that was the gist. And there's a flash. Dia gets it done just as Possum enters the Z fight.
Yeah, GG's to Dia, finishing up with a time of, as soon as this timer stops.
Yep. We'll give you that time in a moment, but in the meantime, I believe I heard Dia popping in for an interview. GG.
Thank you.
Yeah, GG's Dia. So what are your thoughts about the seed overall?
Well, that was rolled another D-Mist, so...
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Tucked it right where Dathus would. Oh.
So that... Okay, Possumorpheus could have gotten this early, and after having to, after, like, miscalculating how much HP I would have after one reaction, I was like, well, I kind of need Possumorpheus to have gone Moon, and it'd be Hunted at this point, just because what have missed the Darkness Crystal entirely, because having to do 3 reactions took way more time than I anticipated.
Well, you did get what you needed. Possum went Moon, cleared it from the bottom up, and didn't find the tower key until he got to the Murasama.
Yeah, and you take those.
Yep. So, was that the motivation when you found that Darkness Crystal because it worked out for you very well. It's great to cut off the grind, but a 10 key item Hella D Machine grind is, I think, the fastest grind in the book. And you said, nope, I'm just going to low level strat this. So was it a feeling behind, or is that probably a play you make under any circumstances?
Well, it's a play I would have made in any circumstances, but I was kind of just wrong. I thought that if I got a single reaction, I would have the Yang and both Canes up at the 300, and then at that point, I would be able to just go to the Vampire, the Battle Speed 6 strat, which I think would probably be faster than just grinding and then doing Berserk strats. In the end, it took 3 reactions, and I wasn't getting favorable rolls on the encounters, so it just ended up not working out the way I thought it would.
Yeah, and you got board-faced AI'd into one of those reactions with Yang falling down on the first one. So, yeah, a little bit of bad luck making it even longer.
Yeah, in the end, grinding probably would have been the faster option, but as long as I get the
You know
win.
what?
I mean,
Exactly.
you got the win and you learned.
I do think that if Yang got a slingshot off of the big reaction grind, he would be at 1200. The Canes probably still wouldn't have though, so.
This does give you your second win, gets you through the initial round, on to the round of 8. I would bet you haven't given much thought to that other than, well, I got through one race, off to the next.
Yeah, kinda. Just gonna keep playing my game and hopefully keep winning.
That's all I have. Xenocat, do you have any last or Dia, any last thoughts?
GG's to Possumorpheus. He did very well. Like, obviously, drafting him first was risky. We had no prior stats on the bot, so definitely took a risk, and I knew he was someone who could beat me. Luckily, I was able to pull out these last 2 games, and now on to my next opponent. Thank you all for the restream and the commentary.
Absolutely. And thank you for putting on a great race for us. GG once again.
Thank you.
And it looks like, well, during that interview, Possumorpheus has just about reached the end of his Z fight as we see rocks falling.
And there it is. Possumorpheus taking a different route through the seed and finishing up not that far behind. Only about 5 minutes. Not much at all on this flag. So GG's. And
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Morpheus.
Yes.
Awesome.
Any initial thoughts about the seed?
I should have believed in PK and done Murasame first. He's been praising it all tournament. It didn't work for him, but it would have worked for me.
Yeah, that would have made the difference. Definitely. That was such a rude moon until you finally got up to the top.
Yeah, I mean, the moon wasn't bad. Like, you know, you can just Zerk your cane and Zerk your other cane. And had I picked up, in hindsight, a dwarf axe instead of an ogre axe, knowing there'd be one on ordeals, that would have gone a lot better, especially with the Magus sisters. It's not 5 minutes worth or 6 minutes worth or whatever the difference is. But I actually felt good about the seed in general. Vanilla Demist, I know that's something that doesn't normally route from what I've seen into either of our checks. So I felt like finding it when I did, I was pretty comfortable. And that was kind of the driving decision to go bottom up instead of top down, was just knowing the opponent. And, you know, Dia is phenomenal. So, you know, it didn't work out going for density this time.
Yeah, you two took very different routes through this seed. Dia hit that Vanilla Demist after clearing, I believe, Baron Inn and Baron Castle. And so stayed to the blue planet and found the Legend Sword and forged.
Yeah, I read that when we were talking post-race. It seemed like we did very different routes, very different strats. But, you know, no shame in finishing second to the person who was picked to win the tournament by the most number of people. So, you know, and like I said with my naming scheme, the only thing worse, you know, here losing would not be getting to see a runner as good as Dia race more in this tournament. So I'm absolutely not upset to have lost this for my first tournament. Hey, like top 16, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
For your free enterprise tournament debut, this is top 16 is definitely impressive.
absolutely. And
But
well, we're gonna see great things from you in the tournaments to come.
one can only hope. But thank you for doing comms, Commander, and Xenocat. And thank you for all the vanilla, or reverse vanilla in the Fame Arch, or whatever you want to call it, French vanilla. Daphne. And thanks for clicking all the buttons, Trino. And thank you, everyone behind the scenes. You know, all the folks on the admin team, everyone that I've raced against so far this tournament. Y'all do an absolutely amazing job with this. So I look forward to participating in future tournaments and, you know, seeing y'all on the flip side. So thank you guys again, and everyone have a blessed night.
Absolutely, Possum, and thank you again, Dia, for putting on such a great race, and chat for hanging out with us, who all are what make all that hard work worthwhile. And that is the last match of the playoffs. We'll be with you next week for the round of 8. Matches are starting to get scheduled already. But for now, we are going to send you off to the RPG Valkyries. They're doing a marathon for Take That, which is a wonderful charity that they can tell you far more about there. I can. But it is a terrific course. Take this. Thank you, Scala Kitty. Take this, not take that.